Hey guys, it's Utania here. I thought I'd do a video on probably the top 5 spaces where I would stage right now to find PvP fights. Some people asked me to do a guide on the map where the fights are right now. So I figured I'll give you my take on it and where I would currently stage from if I wanted to get fights in EVE. So the first system I would recommend is a system called Anchauttes or something. I don't know, it's really hard to say because it's some weird French system in Placid. But this system has a cloning facility, and it's really close to Pandemic Horde space, which is what makes it so good, really. You can go 4 jumps here, then you're into RQH, which is an entrance to Pure Blind. Generally, Horde tend to have like a few VNIs around here, so if you want to get a few kills on them, you can. Also, Horde tend to form up stuff here to fight you as well, but it tends to be less of the like blob and ECM stuff that you see in 7RM. So this tends to be actually a pretty decent place for finding fights. You can also kind of come up here and go into 7RM if you want, which is, you know, obviously Horde staging. If you aren't getting anything here, you can sometimes get a fight there, although it tends to be against like a Horde standing fleet, so you tend to be blobbed pretty hard. You can also then roam up around here into GME, an C4C, which is Horde's main crabbing pocket. You can also try and go up to C4C. There tends to almost always be a Sino here, so you can kill the Sino, and then usually they'll undock assault frigates or interceptors to come fight you. You can also sort of roam around here. This side of Declan, where the Slice and Slice Renters are, is actually pretty good for finding fights. Also, another good thing about Pure Blind is there's a lot of good NPC regions. Like you have Roy or whatever it's called, ROIR, which I believe is here, where you can get free reps. Is also XX7, and those systems are really close to Horde staging. So if you're not on this side, you can come up here, get reps, and come around this side. So it's pretty good for finding fights. The other good thing about Anchauttes, or however you say the system name, is it's also in Placid in the factional warfare zone, and this area tends to be really active. Like it's just on the edge of Blackrise. So if you're not having much luck in nullsec, or you know maybe you're a low-sec PvPer who kind of wants to dip your toes into nullsec a bit, it's a great staging because you can tend to find some decent fights in low-sec anyway around this area. You also have access to another nullsec entrance, which is also just 4 jumps away from this system, Anchauttes, which is also where it's really good. You can go 4 jumps here, then you'll go from Alsavion to F7C, and then you can kind of go around here. Cloud Ring is pretty dead right now. Also another shout out too is you can come around here through highsec if you're not a criminal, and then come down here to PF TAC 346. And if you don't want to stage in highsec, you can stage in Orvolle instead, which again I would really not recommend going to Syndicate, because Syndicate is completely dead aside from FD TAC mostly, and this system XTAC-M, and those systems just tend to be really heavily gatecamped, with the kind of horrible gatecamps that you'd normally see in Curse, with, you know, Falcons and Sabres and stuff. It's pretty hard to get a fight there, I find. But the good thing is mostly just Pure Blind. You've got Horde up here, you've got the FW zone. That's what makes it a great staging. So I'd definitely recommend staging from that system, from Anchauttes, or from Orvolle if you really want the high sec instead. But I recommend you stage from the low sec because it's a lot closer to the entrances, and then you're also in the warzone, and it's much easier for you to swap out ships too, which makes it a bit more fun. But again, if you have problems holding there or something, just stage from Orvolle instead. The second system that I recommend is DSS, which is a current system that I'm staged from. It is kind of a minor kick out, and there are some guys called Legio who do gate camp stations, and it's pretty much all they do on TQ actually, that do camp the station quite a bit, so be wary of that. Although they never really were a problem for me, even when I was neutral to them. I'm currently blue to them for some reason because I'm in Goon Swarm. But this system's really great because it's 3 jumps from GE TAC, which is Brave staging, but you also have access down this pipe, where Brave tend to mine in this system quite a lot, HP TAC, as well as mine in the 4M TAC, which is occasionally active. You also have Requiem Eternal on the western side, although they have dropped activity quite a bit recently. I think a lot of corps have quit them or something, I don't know, because Brave has started taking quite a bit of their space, so I presume it's because they no longer have the numbers to hold it. You can also come down through AX tac, come down to impass. There's a big war in impass right now, so being around here is pretty cool, especially with frigates, because there's a lot of fuzzy claws. There's a lot of vulnerable Anchauttes ships too. Like, people tend to just Anchauttes with like unfitted Atrons and Griffins and shit like that around this area, so it can be a great place to get a fight. Impasse is currently under siege, as mentioned, so again, you can roam around here, sometimes get the occasional Anchauttes kill. CO2 tend to PvP quite a lot here too, so you can sometimes get a fight from them. Although again, because there is because CO2 are getting evicted, you're gonna find like a lot of really big gangs down here and less people doing their own thing. So, but that's not too much of a problem though, because you can also come here, the Bastard Cartel. I've got some decent frigate fights from them. Bastard Cartel stage from RHO right now. You can get some pretty decent fights there. Also, up here from V3 TAC, you have Lord of Worlds Alliance. They are pretty hard to get a fight from, but they are mostly miners, so you tend to be able to get a gank here and there on them. And you can also like kind of come through here and then roam into the Tickle pocket. Again, Tickle can be a good place to get fights, especially if you're playing around the Australian time zone, since they are Australian time zone alliance. But they tend to be active even in EU and American prime time too. You can also, roam a bit further, go into immensea. Down here you have Fubar, which do camp you in quite a bit, but you can normally kill a miner of theirs or two. Down here I've got some really funny kills, especially that MT that was worth like 4 billion or something. It's just a really fun place. You also have like FCON renters in this sort of area here. Occasionally you can get a few good kills there. And again, you can kind of roam to FCON staging. It's not too far from here. Although FCON staging, I've not had too much luck recently since the war started. Again, you kind of have these little like fringe systems here. It's quite far to roam to, but tenerifis, definitely in this pipe here, you can get some funny kills around here, around tenerifis. So yeah, DSS is a pretty good place right now. The only problem is it's in nullsec. So you will have to either pay Black Frog or another freight service or a line service to jump your stuff here. Right now, currently, as I'm making this video, it's 300 million ISK to jump from Amarr to DSS. So if you want to ship a few frigates out here, you're going to have to pay the 300 million ISK to get them to do it. The other alternative is you bring like an exploration frigate down here, like an interceptor, installing interceptor with a probe launcher, and then you probe for holes around here. Once I paid Black Frog once, and once I got my stuff there, I then started probing for wormholes around here, and then I brought in more ships via wormholes with a deep transport ship. But it depends if you have access to that or not, and also, there is some danger going through wormhole space, so you might get your stuff ganked. It depends on the wormhole. You need to, understand directional scanner, use Z-keyboard and stuff like that to find out if it's active or not. But that is a good way to get stuff there. Alternatively, a system that is not quite as good in my opinion, but easier to get your stuff to, if you have a scout, is Litom and Jamunda. I think Litom has an NPC station. The only problem with this the system here is this pipe is camped a lot more often, and you don't have as much options as you do in DSS if any of these systems are camped. There is normally horrible gate camps in Curse, especially in Jamunda a lot of the time. Ever since Pandemic Horde and Pandemic Legion have sort of moved down here too, there's a lot of like Falcon Saber camps. I mean, Curse is already like Falcon Saber camp central. It's probably one of the only regions in the game that is basically just controlled by gate campers, because there's literally like 5 or 6 Saber Falcon gate camps in it at any one point. And so the main problem is if you come down here, and then this system is pretty popular to be gate camped, as well as Jamunda, then you've got to kind of like turn around and then like go all the way around here, then come down here, and it's a very long path. Whereas with DSS, this is a regional gate, it's really hard to camp, and then there's a lot more options where you can go. I mean, if GE TAC is camped, for example, you've got YH9 and YH9 is one of these systems. It's here, and then also you have like 3TAC-O as well, which connects to GE TAC. It's hard for them to camp here because they have to camp both gates at once to keep you out. And then even if they do, you can come around the side here, go back around, up, down here. So it's much harder to gate camp around this area, and and deny you from roaming. Whereas here in Keberz, you're gonna have probably gonna find a gate camp somewhere down here, and then you're gonna have to go all the way around, and it's gonna suck. Also, you can't really, unfortunately, stage from highsec if you want to get down to this area here, because if you're staging from Keberz, HGP is normally a fun system to get some good fights occasionally. It's gotten quite bad recently though, and SC5 is almost camped, but the main reason is this system here, 9KOE, is almost always camped. There's always like some kind of horrible gate camp in 9KOE. It's the rancer of nullsec, honestly. This system has been camped for like at least the past 5 years that I've been actively playing and PvPing in this region, and there's always a horrible gate camp that you probably aren't going to get through, even solo in a frigate. So I would definitely avoid staging from highsec and roaming here. Unfortunately, you're probably going to have to stage from DSS or from Litom if you want to come down to this area. You can, if you wanted to though, probably stage from Keberz and highsec, or Agil, which is this system here, which is the highsec one. You can stage from a Citadel in Keberz, or you can stage from the NPC station in Agil if you're worried about leaving your stuff in someone else's Citadel. And then roam down here, go through Providence maybe, and then maybe come up and loop around here if you don't mind doing longer roams. Providence is again another nice area to PvP in, and again DSS, you can kind of sort of come around this long way up here. Around here you will have to avoid 9KOE most likely, but you can sort of come up here and then come back around if you do want to PvP in Providence. So I mean, if you don't mind just really having to go through Providence to come all the way around here, then you can also stage from highsec. But I would recommend, if you have the money or the ability to get ships through wormholes, pay Blackfrog or another freight service, or get wormholes and stage from DSS. If you hate the kickout system too, you can stage from LGK. LGK also has industry facility. DSS does not. So if you want to build your own ships in Stain, then LGK is also pretty good, and it's only 2 jumps away from DSS. It's only an extra 2 jumps, so it's not horrible if you stage from LGK instead of DSS. Another system that I would recommend probably is 1DH if you want to PvP around Goon Space and Quirius. If you don't mind staging from nullsec again, you can probe for wormholes to get stuff in here. I believe it's a lot more expensive though to pay freight services to freight to 1DH. Goonstorm tends to have a pretty good market, although I believe they're not allowed to sell in NPC Delve, or it's against Goon rules or something. But there are always dumb people who do. There's a pretty good market in PR Tech 8. The reason why I'd recommend you stage from 1DH instead is just because PR Tech 8 tends to be camped a bit more often, and 1DH also, I found this route a lot more convenient, being able to go down to F2OY and being closer to the sort of the sacked pipe. I find those areas a bit better than PR 8, which is a bit closer to this side of the map in Delve. But I guess it's your preference. The market is a lot better in PR Tech 8. So Delve is very, very active. It's the most active region in the game right now. I'm in Goonswarm currently, so I can't actually PvP there. Well, I mean I can, but only against like pirates and stuff. But I would definitely recommend it if you don't mind flying like fast frigates a lot, and you don't mind dying a lot. Obviously Goonswarm drops supers on everything. They have the most active standing fleet. They have the most active camps, but you can also get a lot of kills because there's also, you know, a lot of dumb goons in Delve. And because it's so active, almost every system is really active. So if you're someone who's just bored and, you know, you just keep getting those like 2-hour-long roams and nothing happens, I'd recommend you stage from 1DH. You can check out a guy called Paxsex. He streams too. I guess I'll leave a link to his channel in the description if you want to watch him or watch some of his VODs or something. He PvPs in Delve a lot, and I believe he stages from PR Tech or 1DH, and he just roams in a lot of frigates and stuff, and he gets a lot of fun fights. So yeah, it can be good to stage and roam into Delve if you don't mind the like really fast-paced environment and getting supers dropped on your frigate a lot, and going through the occasional gate camp, and, you know, learning by fire a lot. The other good thing about 1DH2 is you can kind of go into Quirius. Quirius is kind of horrible right now, though, in my opinion. The only real active areas are sort of the Vault Edition pocket, but Vault are slowly dying. You got, I don't know, some German guys who mine a lot or something, and they gate camp a lot too, which is bad. You got Initiative down here, but Initiative tend to be good for fights, but the problem with the Initiative down here is they're currently deployed to Syndicate, so most of their PvPers are in Syndicate right now, and the people that are down here in this pocket are the initiative guys who are crabbing to, you know, keep the war funds up, and not really people who are looking to give you fights necessarily, and, you know, they tend to get camped in quite a bit. You can also, I guess, at a stretch, if it's really just that dead, it's a very long path, but it's not horrible to manually roam to GE attack. It's like 20 jumps, but I mean, it is there. If Delve is somehow terrible or not quite there. Also, I mean, 1DH has more gates as well. It's just, you know, another reason why it's better than PR attack. It's a bit harder to camp you in there. You have a few more options available to you if goons do decide to camp you or whatever. You can also try Banavethi if you do want to roam into Curious, which is here. But this is something I would not stage here unless you don't mind flying frigates and things like that, because there's a group here called DSS Gaming who pretty much have gate camp for like the last 6 years. And they always fly like Hunter Proteus. This was Sino with like 4 or 5 ships back up. So if you fly anything big, if you fly a cruiser or something bigger than that, you're just going to get dropped on, which really sucks. The only thing they do is gate camp. Also, another problem that you'll have is in Ashmarir, which is this system here. It's not active right now because, you know, it's 1445. But this system is almost always camped by Darwinism, who, again, are very similar to TXG in that they tend to just AIDS camp, and that's all they really do. And it can be hard to get a frigate through here sometimes as well, because they have like insta-locking stuff and smart bombs quite often. So if you do station Banavethi, you have to roam through Curious. I mean, it's an area that I've had a lot of fun with in the past, but I think Curious is quite dead right now. It's probably not the best region to be in. But if you do kind of want to be close to goons and don't mind going, you know, a bit further, you can station Banavethi if you want the highsec access. I mean, you could also stage from SAC 2 if you don't want to stage from 1DH. But again, Aridia is like a horrible region to go through in haulers. It's really far from everything, and it tends to be camped quite a bit, especially in like Hyrie, which I think is here or whatever it's called. There's almost always insta-locking camps with smart bombs in that system too. So it's pretty hard to access this area unless you pay Black Frog or you use wormholes or something, or you don't mind building your own stuff in PR or 1DH. So yeah, those are probably the 3 that I would recommend the most right now. Well, I guess 4 if you count Jamunda, but I really wouldn't if you're just looking for fights. Speaking about the rest of the map, don't ever PvP here, it's horrible. Tribute and Veil of Silent are pretty much dead, aside from like a few random pockets that have renters in them that generally don't want to fight you. So I'd say those are probably the 4 or 5 systems that I would stage from. I hope this helps you, and I hope this kind of video is useful. Maybe I could do one like every month, like when the map changes or something changes or something like that, if it's popular or whatever. But anyway, thanks for watching me rant for 20 minutes or however it's been, and I hope you get the fights you're looking for.